Welcome to the Rethink Leadership podcast, available on all platforms including YouTube if you prefer to watch. My name is Jeremy Blaine, CEO of Performance Works International, Executive Director of the Transformational Leadership Acceleration Institute, and Managing Partner of Diversity Talent. My aim is to bring insights from leaders, experts, and highly talented professionals from around the world. Insights, stories, and advice from the front lines of modern leadership to engage, inspire, and mobilize progress back in the workplace. Every episode is a learning opportunity for us all. The Rethink Leadership podcast also supports charities around the world. Each episode is in aid of a cause chosen by my guests, and to date, I'm proud to say we've supported over 60 global and local great causes. Today, I welcome Dez Rock, the CEO and neurodivergent leader of SIEMonster. Dez knows that having ADHD has been anything but a detriment to her career. Her ability to see the world as a puzzle and manage all of the pieces has made her an exceptional leader. Dez has been an entrepreneur for over 20 years, always mentoring others on career and negotiation skills, and now focused entirely on her own business, dropping out of law school to start SIEMonster several years ago. Dez's greatest strength is always seeing the big picture. A startup requires a person who can always fight on all fronts without losing perspective and making things personal. This is where she excels, and her ADHD superpower enhances that as we discuss. It's an eye-opening discussion in which we dive into Dez's career, superpower, and how neurodiversity at leadership level and within the workforce delivers tangible results time after time after time. Dez, thanks very much for joining me. Please introduce yourself, your business, and your neurodiverse superpower.
Hi, and thanks for having me, by the way. My name is Dez Rock. I am the co-founder and CEO of SIEMonster, which is a cybersecurity software that we produce. We've been in the industry for 20-odd years in security. We were professional hackers beforehand, and now we've pivoted to protecting people. Yeah. Oh, and yes, I'm diagnosed with ADHD as well. That's a very recent diagnosis, about a year and a half ago. And so that is certainly put perspective on my life. It's really put, and it made a lot of things make sense for me. Yeah.
For those that don't know, how does that manifest itself?
Which aspect? So the ADHD, how does that manifest itself? Okay.
Yeah.
It's basically a dopamine deficiency. And it means in its essence, in its true essence, it means that we are our brains are wired quite differently. And it means that there are certain things, and by the way, it appears differently to everybody. So when I discuss my ADHD symptoms, or my, how it manifests for me, it's certainly not a blanket for everybody. I want that to be really clear. It's, if you can imagine, when we decide what our wiring of our brain is like, we take a blank plate and go up to a buffet table and fill it with things. And you've probably filled it with very neurobeige things, right? But I've gone up and gone straight for the neurospicy, right? So I've got a little bit of this and a little bit of that. So, but my plate is different to everybody else's who may have been diagnosed with the same label as me, is what I'm trying to say, right? So the way it manifests for me isn't a universal rule to apply for everybody, that we all are a little different. I might have put in a little bit of ADHD, a little bit of autism, a little bit of dyslexia, a side serving of this and that. And here we are. So it manifests differently. So for me, it means that my brain can work in a very, very fast pace, that the more issues I have, the more I come alive, the more I can actually, because the I'm getting that dopamine hit, and it means that I can actually sharply focus in on and process things a lot faster. That's how it manifests for me.
I see. And I know that you were recently diagnosed with that. Reflecting back now, what was the impact on you as a kid, and particularly when you first went into business?
The impact was it just, when you watch your life in reverse and you kind of think, oh, that all makes sense now, right? So it was the interactions with other people. A lot of diverse people, we tend to mask, and we get very, very competent at reading people. Now, that's a tool that I use in business and negotiations every day. So it means that even now, as I'm sitting in front of you, I am reading you completely, your feedback, what you're wanting to hear from me, what your everything. So that's an automatic thing. There's no processing done. It's incredibly automatic now. So that's how, but I didn't realize that no one else was doing that. Starters. And we tend to communicate, like I tend to bond a little different with people. Like I tend to cut out the small talk and go straight to the deep stuff. And that can often be seen as, that's a little weird. That's a little too much for some people. So those are the things. So when I reflect back on, say, friendships, relationships and things like that, and I think, okay, that makes so much sense now on why I was being perceived as a little bit different,
I guess when you put that into a business context, where it's around relationships, the emotional side is there, the small talk is there as much as the deeper stuff,
right?
And probably not knowing at the time as well. How did you navigate all of that, and what did you learn about yourself?
Right. That I'm very sharp at. So in business, it's fantastic because in business, it really is a results-driven relationship or engagement at all times. So I am proficient at walking into a room and negotiating on the spot because I'm able to read the intentions and the beliefs of everybody in that room in lightning speed. I genuinely thought everyone could do this until I realized they can't. So that's how it works for me in business. It means that, and I also know, and also means that if someone's trying to negotiate with me, like vendors and all that sort of stuff, and I can cut through so much BS real fast because I know what they're doing and I know why. That's all because I am trained. My whole life has been trained to mask and to pretend, you know what I mean, to communicate in a certain way. So I'm very proficient at interpreting the words coming to me. And neurobeige people tend to fill it with fillers, right? Fillers. And I'm very good at taking out all the fillers and understanding what the actual message is. I'm trying to break it down for you, but that comes very natural to me.
Well, I can tell, and you've worked through that yourself, and I'm absolutely sure, reflecting back since your diagnosis, you'll be picking up various things where you've gone through there. But to me, and I called it a superpower first of all, but as a leader myself as well, looking at you, I'm thinking actually there's a couple of things there that you've just pulled in, which is if only I had been as quick or as sharp in certain cases. So what are the other leadership traits or skills or abilities that you've developed that perhaps other leaders like me haven't or think we haven't, that you're benefiting from?
Not being stressed over a million different things coming at you at the same time. So that is something that even if you worked on, no matter how much you meditate and how much Zen you think you're going to be, your brain is not capable of thriving under pressure the way mine is, because mine is absolutely wired that way. Just like I can't unwire myself, there are certain traits that I can't undo. You cannot wire yourself to be me. So there are absolutely benefits, and why it is so common for CEOs to be diverse. It's a very, very common thing. So to have they may be undiagnosed and not know it, but if they have similar traits and they think, yeah, I can relate to that, chances are you might be one of us. Yeah.
Oh, I'm absolutely sure. And actually, I want to come to the leaders in a minute, but as you're talking there, I'm thinking about your employees. So what are the benefits that your employees kind of get from it, or if you like, any employees get from a leader who is neurodiverse, has these different abilities, probably different ways of interacting as well, and what do they have to adjust to or to accept?
Okay, so I'm in IT. I'm in software security, so most of my staff are diverse, because if I've told you that there's high levels of diversity in CEOs, there's even higher in my sector. So I suppose at the very least they have someone who understands them, and that's incredibly important, because I know a lot of people who don't understand diversity and miss out on the opportunities in which they can tap into there. That's on the internal culture, right? Externally, it means that they have a leader who's able to negotiate far better and far sharper for them, and to progress even more too. So, but I think the leadership skills in which I employ are universal anyway. So, leading is not about telling people what to do. It is also about, I mean, some people stop there, but it isn't. Leadership is also about caring about the people you lead. And I don't care what you're leading, if it's a family, if it's religion, if it is politics, if it is a corporation. If you do not care about the people you're leading, then you're not leading efficiently, right? That's the whole purpose of it. So in that, then is baked in all of the things that I bring. So then obviously I naturally, with the skills that I've honed in anyway, to be able to read and understand where people want and what they require, then I certainly put them in a position where they feel safe enough. And when I say safe enough, it means that it's as simple as asking, what can I do to help make your job more productive? Like what can I do? What can we do to ensure that your productivity rises? Ask your people, they'll let you know. It's as simple as that too.
So engage the people in the conversations, empower them, treat them with respect and care, like you're saying. Right. So that's a leadership trait that we all have to model for sure.
Exactly right. Yeah.
Actually, just going back to a point that you made, what percentage on your team would you say is made up of diverse individuals?
It depends on what category we're talking about. If we're talking about our software tech team, I would say, I don't want to call everybody out, but I would say it's really, really, really high. I'm trying to think of anybody who's not. I don't think they're diagnosed, but I can see it for what it is, right? So that's there. But however, I don't just have tech people on my team, clearly. So it really does depend on the roles they're doing, But oh my God, if you're in software, if you're in tech, if you're in IT, and you think you don't have diverse people on your team, yeah, I'm going to call BS on that.
Well put. And I'm just going to come back to the point about leaders now. I've met, and I'm sure you have as well, we meet many leaders out there. They bring different things to the table all the time. And you sort of you mentioned it before. How many leaders out there do you think, or senior management, remain perhaps undiagnosed in some of these areas?
It's an age, I reckon it's a generational age thing. And I think it's got a lot to do with shame, because in a certain generation, if you said autism, Rain Man comes to mind, and you want to distance yourself from that as much as possible. That's that's just because the shame around it. So, and autism is so much more of a heavier word than ADHD, for example. ADHD is starting to become more like palatable, I suppose is the word. But neurodiverse is neurodiverse. And it's all on the buffet table, right? So I'm pretty sure I have traits that would be absolutely square front in the autism category as well, right? So I'm here to remove the shame from all of it. So in the undiagnosed, it would be high. The proclivity to go and get a diagnosis really does depend on. Look, nothing changes in your life when you have a diagnosis, by the way. You might, except for this thing, and that is that a lot of things make sense. You make sense of the world a lot better. You may want some medication. It may work for you. It may not. But it means that a lot of things you put things more in perspective. I find that the younger generation are far more willing, to say, oh, hey, I want the tools to make sense of my life. Older generations are like, oh, no, I'm not crazy, and that's how they frame it. I'm not weird. I'm not, because their whole lives, you've got to imagine that, when we were at school, wearing glasses made you different, right? So when you come from that generation, you do not want any label that will put you in a position where you're going to be different because of the impact you believe it will have.
That's a good point, because by even just in this conversation, we're labeling it. We are labeling neurodiversity and the as an umbrella term, but perhaps that's because it is far more accepted and it is out there and open, and people are seeing more of the benefits about that now. So don't mind talking about it, probably more as an umbrella term than very specific areas.
Correct.
Is that right? Would you agree with that?
Yes, because if I talked about, it would be wise to go and employ autistic people. That hits so differently to saying, open your mind to including neurodiversity. And it's a softer language, right? Because when you mentioned autism, you're like, no, like you're hitting a brick wall. Whereas I can tell you that why on earth would you not want someone who's going to hyper-focus on a topic that's going to benefit you? God, I'm going to appeal to your greed and say, consider it, But yeah, so the language we use and by the way, that's a very, very incredible difference between neurobeige and neurodiverse. And that is the language used. The neurobeige will love words that make them feel comfortable, whereas we know what we're talking about, we definitely know. And so that goes down to, when I say I can read through people, that language difference is exactly what you guys need. Like, the softer approach and all that sort of stuff. And you got, there's a framework of a game at foot here. If you say this, if you say that, you mean this and you mean that. And once we become proficient at that, we can absolutely navigate and see and read and interpret everything, which makes us highly skilled at the negotiation table.
Wow, it does at that. I'm beginning to think that I need to book my ideas a little bit up here.
Oh, let me tell you something. All you need is me in a room, 30 minutes of me in a room with anybody you're negotiating with, and I will be able to tell you the outcome of that for sure.
Right. Do you mean that?
Yeah, I do. I do. Yeah.
Be in touch. Yeah. You've got a big one coming up, actually. It's funny. I listening to you speak, I've not really come across neurobeige as a terminology before, but I totally get it. And he said ashamedly, but of course, I've done a little bit of work in this space to understand it a little bit more, because I work in the tech space a lot, like you were mentioning as well. Understand, when we're going into data-driven areas, more creative areas, where some of these powers really, really come into the mix. And of course, companies like Hewlett-Packard Enterprise, many companies have realized many benefits in concrete terms. So going back to your team, which has many diverse people in it, what if we talk about sort of performance, if you in your industry and your software business and the cyberspace that you occupy, if you had people that weren't as diverse of this, how different would be the performance? And can you sort of identify where that would be?
Oh my God, absolutely. Yes, we would not be able to. The reason why we are so small, but hitting we're taking on the big boys, like my competitors are Splunk and the rest of them. The reason why we are is because I have people on my team who will hyper focus day in, day out. It means my the team's ability to be agile and to come up with solutions that no one else is thinking of. That's what sets us apart. That's literally what gives us the edge. But that's exactly it. So if I had a team full of I want you to think, I don't have to tell them to think differently. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I don't. They already do. We are all Apple computers at my place, right? We all think differently. And so that makes entrepreneurship, and it makes ingenuity very easy for us, because we're always thinking of, so how can we put this and this together? Because we're not taking anything as a standard. So the people who, my lead, solution architect and all that, and my team who are literally come up with the ways in which we do things, they have absolute unfettered freedom to think of the way they want to do things. I don't box them. I don't anything. And so how do I support them? So I know that certain things that make them comfortable and not comfortable appearing on camera, don't want to be front facing with customers, all that sort of stuff. So I make sure, because that's such an asset to have somebody think in a hyper focused way on your product to make it better. I am motivated to ensure that he's most comfortable in order to get those results for me.
It's absolutely fascinating. And to drill down a little bit further then, what does that mean in concrete terms, as far as our traditional measures go, like productivity, speed
We get to market
implementation,
faster.
results.
Yeah, we get to market a lot faster because we're breaking things, and like the whole adage, right? So we tend to not have to. I allow my team to think always outside the box and to consider everything. Nothing is out of the way. So we get to market faster with our productivity in relative to the size we are. I am competing with billion-dollar companies, right? I'm not there yet. However, I'm taking jobs off, and what do you call it? I'm taking customers from billion-dollar companies. I'm only doing that because of how agile, how forward-thinking my team is, and that is 100%. Like, if you think about why can I do what I'm doing, it's 100% to do with the diversity in my company. No doubt about it. As I said, added with the fact that I'm at the head here, and I can walk into a room and know and negotiate a deal in half an hour. I can know that. It does put me in a very, very powerful position, for sure.
Wow. So for those tuning in, we've got a big leadership audience.
Okay.
What are the 2 or 3 big points? Say, this is a really convincing conversation for me.
Okay.
Benefits this. So what are the big messages for them that say you need to hire more neurodiverse individuals because it's going to supercharge your business?
That's right. It will. Well, do I want to? It depends if they're my competitor, in which case, no, do what you're doing, please. Keep going, do what you're doing. It's working well for you. Any other industry, I would say absolutely consider the fact that to expand into diversity. I don't think you need to go and call it out. I think that's ridiculous. I think that I would be surprised that if you don't have diversity within your organization. Let me start with that. And I would also not, and this is such a beige thing to do, hands up if you're neurodiverse. Don't be doing that stuff, right? So don't. I would say to the team, and it's a blanket statement, what can I do to help productivity? Like, what do you need from the organization that you're not getting at the minute to help productivity? That's number one, because I think that you have diversity in your company right now. They're probably hiding out of fear, right? As far as offering, and you could actually, I don't know how you can actively hire diverse people. I really, unless you have me in the room, and I'll be able to tell you in half an hour. And so there's that too, but I don't know how else you would know to do that. So I don't know, but I would welcome them. If I wouldn't be afraid of it, I would absolutely welcome them, because even though they might be like, oh, so they're so odd, or they're so weird, or so whatever, but what they bring to the table is so worth it.
I've got a feeling that you're going to get a few side gig requests.
Oh, right. Well, I'm dead serious about that. All I need is, and I say half an hour, just give me and I need to be in the room. I need to be able to see them. That's the prerequisite. I need to be able to see, like I can see you, and I'm reading your whole body language. I'm reading the words you choose, the language you're using, the inclinations, and everything like that. And while we're talking, all of that is being processed. So I can actually give you a reading later on, if you like, about what this is all about. But so that's something that that has always been in my back pocket as a weapon to do. And yes, if anybody would like to test me on that, by all means, go ahead.
Well, be careful what you wish for, because they just might call. I know I might. Okay. So you don't have to do this later. Give me a bit of reading. For those tuning in, is like, what have you sort of learned from observing this, or me, or as a beige person asking a question?
You're pleasantly surprised that the amount of ability that a neurodiverse person can give. You're genuinely sitting there thinking about, how can I utilize this? How can anybody utilize this and harness this right now? And you are wondering how truthful I'm being right now.
First 2 points, absolutely, but that third one, now I'm bought in, actually.
Okay.
So no, I am bought in. So yes, if I have been giving off those vibes, I apologize, because it's not not at all. I really do buy into it. I've seen it work myself as well, and I've seen the power of this. But of course, talking to you, it's just comes right to the fore.
Yeah. So right now, what you're doing is wanting my approval, and you're wanting to make sure. So what you're doing is appeasing me to make sure that we have a connection there. And so I can see what you're doing right now as well. So yeah, that's how powerful this is for me.
Yeah, it is, right. So please, yeah, so please like me. Is that right? Okay.
No. You wouldn't have gone so far ahead. But in order for you to clarify that, to spend time to clarify that, what that's automatically telling me is that I want to be very clear. So what you want to build is trust between us. So you can then, possibly leverage that later, but then you can actually engage in that. And I can recognize what you're doing here is, yeah.
That's very fair. Very fair point indeed. Yeah, I have nothing to add. And so I've asked about leaders. He said very quickly, taking the spotlight off himself. And I'm gonna ask you possibly another beige question here. Is that what will be your message to other neurodiverse individuals out there, those with ADHD, on the autism or Asperger's spectrum, wherever they are, with ambitions in business, but just not sure,
right?
And haven't been given the opportunities yet. What is possible?
Definitely. So I'm talking to those people right now, and that is that don't compare your symptoms and your solutions to anybody else's, including mine. Please do not. If you think that I have all got it all together and you don't, and what's going wrong, nothing. You're perfect the way you are. Your skills may lie in other areas. That's number one. Number two, the biggest thing, and this is universal, but we do get it in spades. The biggest thing that hinders us is shame. Shame brought on society because we've been told that we're wrong, or we're acting wrong, or we're different, or we're weird our whole entire lives. So that will be your biggest blocker in your life. I know that's a general rule, but we do get a double dose of that. So be aware of that. Be aware of the self-hate that you could have, and in your attempt to be normal, you will fold yourself into a million, pieces to appear something that you're not. And I'll cut to the chase and say you'll never change who you are. So it's much easier to accept who you are and embrace it.
Right, beautifully put as well. And I'm going to take that neurodiverse shoe off now, and I'm just I'm going to talk to you about what you are, a great leader, an entrepreneur, and I just want to close this by asking you for 3 to 5 learnings in leadership that you've taken forward that could benefit others.
Perfectly. I mentioned one, which is care about the people you're leading. Lead from the heart. Lead from the heart. If you are not in it for all of the right reasons, that will show anyway. And the one thing that will block you in your pathway is your trauma, whatever that will be. So it will be whatever it is in your past, that's what will block you. So the best leadership training I can give you is to work on yourself, because once you've cleared the pathway through in your mind, and you are a natural born leader, that will flow through.
So
that's 3.
Entirely human-centered traits.
Yeah. Because we are humans. You're dealing with humans. You are leading humans. That makes, for me, sense. And we look for this, by the way. If you want a politician, why do we have so many issues with our politicians? Because we want them to care for us. We want them to lead for us. Most of them lead for themselves for the next re-election, and we have a major problem with that. You can superimpose that onto leadership in corporations, where leaders just care for themselves and their own career, and everybody working under them feels that.
Oh, this is the age. I've done some research over the last couple of years, 2 bits of research actually, and this comes out loud and clear. It is incredible how many leaders are getting this wrong. They don't understand building these relationships, how important it is now, particularly now employees have far more power of choice in where they want to work, the type of work they do, fulfillment over career, if you like, and the changing face of the workforce. And it's catching a lot of leaders out.
Right. Yeah.
But the human-centered side is critically important. Any parting words for our audience today, Des?
You're welcome to hit me up. And I'm on LinkedIn with Dez Rock under DezRock under Dez Rock, and welcome there. I'm also on the social media platform formerly known as Twitter, which is a homage to Prince. That whole statement under Destraction, DezTraction.
Great stuff. Well, it has been a fascinating journey and conversation. And thank you so much for joining me, Des.
It was my pleasure. Great to meet you.
Thanks for tuning in to the Rethink Leadership podcast with me, Jeremy Blaine. Please like, comment, and support us on your favourite platform, and subscribe to our YouTube channel where you can watch as well as listen to each episode.